associated with the fourth edition of elets Smart City Summit. Smart City campaign launched by the Prime Minister is a recognition of the fact that urban congestion and therefore urban governance needs to improve dramatically. And at the heart of improving that governance, which eventually will lead to the improvement of quality of life, is technology, and that is where NetApp comes in. This whole initiative can never be fulfilled by a single vendor or a single play, and therefore the initiative by elets to get all the central government bodies, state government bodies, municipal corporations and technology providers like NetApp in the same room is a good start to making sure that the Smart City initiative comes to life. We globally have the expertise core to the central asset of data, and that is what we're trying to bring to India as well. So across South Korea, across China, across working with the Washington DC Police Center, across the California Resources and Natural Energy Association, we've had a fair amount of experience and learning in terms of providing solutions which become a larger part of the smart city solutions that these nations offer. And it's the same expertise and the same technology that we're keen to offer in India and support the smart city campaign that the government of India has launched.
We would just wanted to know this NetApp was what are the cities you'll be involving in the smart city initiative, and how you'll be working with the urban local bodies or the state government level, and what would be the strategy like?
So before you put this on camera, you can keep this off the camera. We, like I mentioned, we bring a fair amount of global experience into India in solving the heart of smart governance is data, and that is where NetApp can play a big role. So, given our reach within the country, we do believe that we can participate and support in the first phase of 20 smart cities that the government of India has announced through a state bidding contest. So, we believe that we would like to have a fair share of play in each of these projects. So, we have identified some states where we already have some conversations going, and depending on how these projects shape up, we will get into other projects as well. So that's the approach. In terms of what we're already doing is, like I mentioned, this is not a single vendor play. So there are multiple agencies involved, both on the government side and from the technology side. So be it NASSCOM, be it consultants who are involved in guiding the government. So we have engaged with all of them so that they get a view of what we can provide, because they're the ones stitching the solution together. So working with government stakeholders on one hand, working with consortiums on the other hand, and taking our solutions to the first phase of smart city rollout is the approach we have in mind.
NASSCOM's chairman has put this figure, 40 to 50 billion. There'll be a boom in the IT sector, in the ICT technology, basically, after the smart city initiative has been coming in.
So it will be 40 to 50
billion in 10 to 15, 5 to 10 years. That's what the target amount.
So the government outlay for the smart city campaign, the government allocation, central government allocation is about 48,000 crores.
No, that is different. He's saying from the private participants, a lot of ICT technology boom will happen after the smart city initiative. How NetApp is looking into this foray?
So see, the boom is something we would look forward to, because essentially what any initiative, whether it is Digital India or smart cities, would mean that the amount of data that is generated, captured and used to provide better services is only going to explode. And with data volumes exploding, the quantum of underlying storage that is needed to store and use the data in a meaningful manner, and the data needs to be preserved for a long time. So the integrity of the systems which hold the data, even 10 years later, 20 years later, it needs that kind of robustness to be built in, which is what we offer. So we do anticipate that the consumption of storage, which is what we provide, would significantly increase with each of these initiatives, be it Smart City, be it Digital India, for that matter even the Skill India campaign. So we look forward to that boom.
And you have NetApp has a global experience, as you mentioned,
Yes.
like South Korea and other countries.
Yes.
So when you compare it globally, where does India stand? We have just started, June 25th it was launched, the Smart City initiative was launched. So I just wanted you to, parallelly when it comes, where do you see India falling in next 5 years, maybe 2020?
See, we are happy that the Indian government under the new leadership has recognized that urban congestion and therefore urban quality of life needs special attention. And this campaign, to my mind, is a recognition of that. So if you look at some of the examples that I mentioned, for example, the work you've done in Washington or the work you've done in California or even South Korea, these are mature economies which rank very high on the ICT index. So, and in spite of that, they've had challenges where they've used technology. Their population is nothing compared to what we have in India. So, but even then, the ability to use technology makes governance and delivery that much better. So, I think we've started off finely, and which is a welcome sign. The good part is India need not reinvent the wheel because there are enough global practices available. Some we bring to the table. There are some that the others would bring to the table. So I think it's a question of how we can marry it to the particular city which is finally chosen, and get it up and running. So the advantage of starting late sometimes is that we don't have to start from scratch. Could we have started earlier? Maybe not, because I think the receptiveness to looking at these concepts, even looking at technology to govern cities, I think is a vision that this government has brought. So better late than never. We're happy about it.
And synergizing Amrut cities, smart cities, and housing for all these different schemes has its own, importance. Do you think synergizing all these 3 or 4, important urban development based initiatives together would help?
So I think I'll respond in 2 parts. I think one is from an administrative standpoint, from a cohesion standpoint, maybe the government of India can look into synergizing it. But if I were to confine it to what we do as a company, we are a technology company with our core focus being on data and data management, right? So, for example, affordable housing for all, a remarkable scheme again, because it will bring a lot of welfare and comfort to a lot of citizens who currently don't have housing. So the play for technology and the play for data management players like us would be very limited. So we don't see ourselves playing a big role in such areas. But when it comes to campaigns like Digital India or Smart Cities, data is at the heart of all of that. But I think if you're suggesting that these all play together, because eventually it's about improving the welfare and quality of life of every citizen, right? So I think yes, all these ministries need to work together, and so that there's no duplication of work and inefficiencies are eliminated from the system. So to that extent, I think it's for the government to decide. But from our perspective, our expertise and our focus is limited to the technology play within the data layer. So that's what it is.
I just wanted to know this. Do you have any particular, you will have unique data collection system or a model for India, or will it be replicative of whatever you have done in South Korea or other country? Will there be any changes, or will it be the same?
No, so I don't think a South Korean model can be replicated in India. So if you look at the 3 cities that the UNCTAD is working on, the Ajmer, Visakhapatnam, and what is the third one? I don't think these cities would marry itself to any of the experience we've had globally. So data collection is a different dimension altogether. So data collection can happen offline, online, and we could suggest ways on that. Our role comes in once the data is collected. It needs to be stored at the first level, then it needs to be archived, it needs to be retrieved, it needs to be interpreted, it needs to be preserved, it needs to be portable. So that is where we have solutions that we offer. So that's what we would be keen to do. Data collection can happen in multiple ways. So we'd be more than happy to advise on methods of data collection. And parallelly, the primary focus of Digital India is to connect 2.5 lakh gram panchayats, right? The optic fiber cable network. So once that rollout happens, data collection would be a fairly easy thing. Currently, it's not the case. You cannot collect data from a gram panchayat because there's no connectivity. So once this optical fiber network reaches these 2.5 lakh gram panchayats, then data collection would happen through the internet anyway.
Before Smart City Initiative, after Smart City Initiative, how do you see the ULBs working, the state government working, and the central government? If you can give me in a global perspective, how other countries are looking into India. We can now say before Smart City Initiative and after Smart City Initiative.
See, transnationals like us, like NetApp, or for that matter, any such organization outside of India, the promise of India is extremely exciting, right? So, if you look at any of the economic indices, India has outperformed China in terms of growth rates, so not in terms of size of economy. So Europe has stagnated. America is growing at a very slow pace. So the promise of growth, I think if you were to put one country on top, it is India, right? So smart city, for example, smart city, since we are here in that context, is something that India has woken up to late. And people who have done this in the past are now looking at exporting their expertise into the country. So that's how we are looking at it. I'm sure others from outside the country are looking at it. I think what is different is, given the size of India, given that we are a federal structure, given the variety of state governments that we have, and it's not a single party rule across the country, I think the complexities of implementing a program are far greater. If you compare it with any of the countries we're talking about, their structures are very the complexities, the layers involved are far lesser. So I think to that extent the challenge is greater in India. But I think under the new leadership, with the vision being sold and bought into by multiple stakeholders down the line, I think challenges will settle down over a period of time, and that's what we're looking forward to.